All right, so the next flower is the Seedess Mum. Oops. I did this in 2 different colors already. And in the middle part, you can kind of get crazy and do what you think might look nice. On this one, I did some dots of glue, and then I put some dark colored glitter. And on this one, we did a little ink pad and smudged an ink pad around.
Yeah, I was looking at some pictures online, and I wanted to try to create this dark gradient inside there. So I think the best way to do that would probably be with some kind of a sponge, and lightly dab it with some ink. But I took here, if you can show them that, I just took a paper towel and just kind of scrunched it up.
And dipped it in an ink pad and then just kind of sponged it on there.
Yeah, just to kind of make it darker in the center and let it kind of gradient outward to make it more interesting. Because the actual flower itself is so intricate when you look at it in real life pictures that it's very difficult to recreate with paper. So you're kind of left to bring out the artistic side in you and dab and add glitter or whatever.
So on the center of this flower, I went ahead and bent all the edges up on the center, just with my finger. And I also rubbed a darker brown ink pad around the edge of it. And I've already glued these guys together. So I'm just going to glue this last top layer on. And then I'll show you how I did the bottom layer. I'm sure you're starting to see a pattern here. It gets kind of some of the same techniques over and over on these flowers, but it's still nice to see. So I'm going to rub, this is kind of a dark brown ink pad on a dark brown. You can't see it too well, but that's okay. And then I'm just pinching each petal all the way around. And then I could either glue the top to the bottom, or I could put some 3D dots in there. Either way, it doesn't matter. I've done it both ways and it looked good both ways. So since this is a big one, oops, oh yeah, that's right. Since that's a big one, I'm going to put 3 on there. Like so. And then make sure that it's offset. So that's it. Instead of gluing that top layer, I could have put a pop dot in the center, and then you would have seen more of a shadow in there to give it some more dimension, but that's okay. It looks good. Except for the leaves. Now this kitty, all these flowers, you can go without the leaves or with the leaves. I am adding leaves, but it depends on your project. Maybe you don't want leaves on there and they're still going to look great. And there's no right or wrong way to put the leaves on, or you could do 1, 2, or 3, or none. So that is cool.
Looks awesome.
Yeah. All right, so our next flower is this nice one. It is a Dublin Mum, and I've done it up in red with a yellow center. So I've already gone ahead and done the 2 bottom layers here. And for this top layer, I'm just going to pinch each petal again. And I have already rubbed a brown ink pad around the edges of each layer.
I know that flower looks, or is supposed to be fall-y, but with the colors that you've chosen for that one, it really brings out more of a Christmas feel too. So
yeah, true.
I'm sure that if you were, to create some kind of gift for somebody, if you just used, different colors for certain flowers, they wouldn't even tell the difference. I mean, who honestly knows, that much about flowers to be able to say, well, it's usually not in season at this time.
Oh, yeah. Well, you'd be surprised. I think my mom would know, but but yeah, obviously the person would totally appreciate such a pretty gift.
Yeah, if you just take that color and just make it a little more orangey, it totally screams fall.
Yeah.
Or for the Halloween lovers out there, we don't have any black flowers, but you could probably get a little creepy and cut some of this stuff out in black and purple, and who knows.
True, yeah. Oops.
I'm always thinking Halloween.
Yep. All right. Also on these centers, I rubbed a dark brown ink pad around the edge, and it's a really subtle touch, but it does look really cool. So And I've got my leaves here too, which they're just the same chrysanthemum leaves. I just bent them and can glue those to the back. All right, so our next chrysanthemum is the lollipop chrysanthemum. And this one's pretty intricate, but not too hard to put together. So this one I already did out of a nice rose pink, and then I've got this one out of red here. So I already went ahead and did the top layer. As you can see, it is a little cone shape. And I glued that together meticulously there. And then I'll show you how I did that.
And this is where the clear dry glue really helps because it is so meticulous. It's really hard to make sure that you don't get too much glue on there, but either way, it's going to look fine.
Yeah.
There's no perfect flower in nature, so.
Definitely. So that cone is a little bit bigger. It's going to fit right in there. And I already did this nice one here. So I've got one more cone-shaped one to do. Just a little line of glue. Bend it around and hold it.
So for this one, there's 4 cones, basically?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the rest of them are flat?
Yeah, the rest of them are flat. So I made the cone shape, and then I kind of push it on the table to make it not so pointy on the bottom. And that's that. So now let's start at the bottom of this. And I'm just gonna glue them all together. I've already taken my stylus and gone like this around the edges so that they all curve upwards. And I've also already rubbed a dark brown ink pad around the edges.
And with the pink one that you made, you almost put pop dots on every layer.
I did. It was too much.
Yeah, with this one we'll maybe not do as many and see how that one turns out.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say too much. It just makes it look a little different, which is fun.
True. I went a little pop dot crazy, and it still looks cool, but it's almost too cone shaped. I don't know. I'm being too critical because actually it does look super cool. So for these, I noticed that the AC cardstock cut better for me than the basil cardstock. I did have to redo this one after I cut it with the basil. So I will just glue that. Try not to go pop dot crazy here.
So advice to them would be to make sure that their blades are clean. And pressure at what would you say, depending on the paper?
I have it at the highest pressure for this cardstock, and I had it on 4 and I turned it up to 5, and that worked better for me.
Yeah, and for some reason, just from experimentation and trial and error, and we're not trying to pitch AC cardstock because they're paying us. It's just
no, not at all.
They just really make the best paper, and when we cut it, you don't have as much stuff to clean off the edges. It just seems to be the most compatible.
Totally.
With the blade. And we get that at Michael's then?
Yeah, we do. It's not at every Michael's. We have 2 Michael's within pretty good distance of us, and it's at one and not at the other. So now I'm putting my cone-shaped guys in here.
And sometimes it helps to use the stylus to kind of push it in place, to center it.
Yeah. I'm pushing down kind of hard because I don't want it to be too cone-shaped.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
Yeah. Now I'll be careful with this glue because it is on the top layer. So yeah, once that dries, the glue won't be too noticeable. So there's that.